The world is full of urban legends, remarkable stories that spread like viruses around the planet, mutating and evolving until no one can remember which ones are true and which ones are urban legends. In this episode called Love and War, you'll see 3 stories where happiness turns into hatred in the blink of an eye. First up, a family man has a change of heart that threatens everything he holds dear. Then, at a Russian circus, no one's laughing when a well-loved performer becomes the butt of his own joke. And finally, newfound wealth has a bizarre effect on a couple and leads them to an end even the police can't comprehend. Watch all 3 stories and decide which urban legends are true and which ones are false. Find out if you guessed right at the end of the show. First, it's a story we like to call A Shadow of Himself. Professor Gary Schwartz studies topics that scare off other scientists.
Issues of spirituality, issues of energy, even life after death.
But for Gary, one story stands out. The tale of Sonny Graham, an ordinary man who became possessed.
It's a scary kind of thing to have a change of personality. It's typically not talked about.
It would terrify family and friends. And by the time the ghost in Sonny's body was done, no one would ever be the same. It all began in 1995 in a South Carolina town where everyone knows the name Sonny Graham.
Sonny Graham was a real man about town. He helped develop it. He helped get Hilton Head High School off the ground. He planted the seed and watered the grass at the football stadium.
His life seems perfect.
He really loved his wife and his family.
But it's about to take a terrible turn. Sonny is diagnosed with a serious heart condition.
His doctors told him that he would die if he didn't receive a heart transplant.
Miraculously, a matching heart is found almost immediately. Even his wife can't believe how fast he gets back on his feet. Little do they know, this miracle will soon take a terrifying turn.
Friends did notice changes after he came back from the surgery.
He then experienced some changes in food preferences.
Sonny wonders if it's because of his new heart.
Sonny's family was entirely opposed to his contacting the donor's family.
But Sonny won't listen. It will be the worst mistake of his life.
Doctors specifically told him, don't include any personal information.
He discovers his heart was donated by a man named Coddle. Terry's widow, Cheryl, gets Sonny's letter. She writes back with information about her dead husband.
Terry liked fast food, he liked beer, and after the transplant, Sonny acquired some of those tastes also.
But that's not all the letter tells him.
Then the story becomes tragic.
Sonny learns how Terry's heart became his.
Cheryl was eating oatmeal, and they heard a gunshot. And the next thing they knew, Terry was on the bathroom floor with a gunshot wound to the head.
Deeply depressed, Terry had taken his own life. His heart was put up for donation just in time to save Sonny's life. But Terry isn't as dead as he seems.
The heart has, so to speak, a mind of its own.
About 2 months after Sonny and Cheryl first started exchanging letters, they decided to meet. Sonny said that he instantly felt a connection.
Inside him is this very loving heart that may have really cared for this woman. He was smitten with her.
As Sonny and Cheryl spend more time together, friends and family start to wonder who's really in charge, Sonny or Terry's heart. Before long, the answer is obvious.
It became pretty clear that Sonny was running around with Cheryl.
I have had enough.
Sonny's wife can no longer ignore the heartbreaking truth.
I want a divorce.
Sonny's wife leaves him. A short while later, Sonny shacks up with Cheryl.
He fell in love with her. You know, follow your heart.
He was happy as could be at first.
But the happiness doesn't last.
He started to complain to his family.
In a few short years, it becomes clear Terry's heart has led Sonny terribly astray.
He didn't want to have to pay to support Cheryl's lifestyle. She was going through all this money, and he was tired of being the babysitter for Cheryl's son.
It's been a bizarre journey for Sonny. But incredibly, it's far from over.
April Fool's Day 2008 started like any other day.
Sonny is taking care of some chores in his shed.
So the phone rang, and the stepson takes the call. It's for Sonny. He goes out to the utility shed.
What he sees is horrific. Sonny is dead.
He was not somebody who got down on himself all the time. This is not a man who's going to kill himself.
Weird as it seems, it appears Terry's heart wanted Sonny to relive every aspect of his life, including his horrible end.
According to the coroner's reports, Sonny died the same way that Terry did, a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
A family man gets a heart transplant that should have saved his life, but instead ends it in the most horrific way. But did it really happen? You'll have to wait to the end of the show to find out. But before then, take a look at this mini-myth. Mini-myth number 98. To the rescue. In Sydney, Australia, a gang of thugs attacked a medical student. Just when it looks like they'll get away with the crime, fully armed ninjas appeared out of nowhere, terrifying the attackers and saving the student. Was it true or false? It was true. A martial arts school had its entrance in an alley, and a ninja class was just getting out when the muggers committed their crime. On Urban Legends, we show you 3 incredible stories. You must decide which ones are God's honest truth and which are devilish lies. So far, you've seen the story of the tainted heart that takes over and leads a man to his death. But is it real or fake? We'll let you know at the end of the show. Now it's time for our next story. It's called Hippo Slippo. Rene Markovy looks relaxed, but he's had some tense moments working as a trapeze artist. But nothing as intense as a night a clown named Christo bit off more than he could chew.
I personally was very frightened because he was dangerous.
Regular audience, kids, women, they were so scared.
Back in 2005, the Stromboli Circus is a local family favorite, but the biggest crowd pleaser of all are the clowns. Christo Martinov is the wildest of the clowns and a hit with the fans.
He was a pretty small guy, you know, 4 feet, but his courage, his style was, you know, like sometimes he was walking like he's 10 feet.
Convinced that it makes for a better show, Christo likes to drink vodka before each performance, and the crowd loves it. As Christo's drinking becomes more extreme, so do his practical jokes. One afternoon, he lets a tiger loose in the cafeteria.
When Tiger let out, nobody was hurt. It was still a very dangerous situation.
It's inevitable that Christo's dangerous behavior would lose him friends.
It looks like everybody had something against this small guy.
But one night, things reach a boiling point. Blind drunk, Christo makes Renee his next target.
When you're performing as trapeze artist, concentration is very important.
At a critical moment, Christo fires a starter's pistol with blanks. The crowd thinks it's hilarious, but not Renee.
No artist would think it's funny, and I think it's just unprofessional.
Christo is setting himself up for his own downfall, but no one can imagine just how tragic it will be. The 28th of July is a night like any other. The clowns are about to do their big finale, where Christo takes a flying leap right over a live hippopotamus.
Showtime!
I think he was drunk as usual.
But Christo is confident. This act is second nature to him.
So he jumped the trampoline. And I think he miscalculated his action.
Suddenly, he landed not in the place where he's supposed to, but right at the open mouth of Hippo. Unfortunately, they were not able to get this dwarf out of Hippo. They cut Hippo open, but it was too late. Christo died of asphyxiation, and unfortunately, Hippo died too.
But how could this happen? Not everyone believes it was an accident. Some, like Inspector Boris Koslek, suspect foul play.
Yeah?
But who would want to kill Christo?
It looks like everybody had a reason to hate him. Everybody could be suspect. And then I found that the trampoline, it was just a little bit moved back. And it was definitely the reason why he landed into the hippo's open mouth.
Boris smells revenge, with Renee as the key suspect.
No, revenge is not my style. I don't do such things.
And when I interrogated René, he didn't have any clear answers about what he was doing. So that gave me the feeling that he did it. But I did not have enough evidence to prove that.
Everyone suspects someone tampered with Christo's trampoline, but police find no evidence.
Eventually, we had to go with the version that Christo did it by his own mistakes, by his drunkenness, even though I personally sure that somebody did it.
So Christo's death remains a tragic mystery.
I'm very sorry about Christo. He was a nice guy, and I'm very sorry what's happened. Everything could be different if he didn't drink.
Did karma play its fateful hand on this mischievous, drunken clown? Or is it all an illusion? You'll have to wait to the end of the show to find out. But before then, check out this mini-myth. Mini-myth number 8543, the subway stiff mystery. In 2005, Berlin police were called to investigate some trouble in the subway. The body baffled everyone until one sleuth figured it out. A troublesome teen was trying to vandalize a subway car late one night. Little did he know, the fast-moving train generated more than enough suction to pull him out of the broken window, flinging him to his death. Was it true or false? It was false. Unlike high-flying planes, Underground trains don't create suction that could pull you out of a window. On Urban Legends, we show you 3 incredible stories. You must decide which ones ring true and which sound false. So far, you've seen the story of the dead man's heart that takes control after a transplant. And the story of the Hippo Slippo that ended the life of a high-flying circus performer. But which of these stories are the real thing? All will be revealed at the end of the show. Now it's time for our final story. It's called Nothing Personal. Deborah Hunt loves to run, but no matter how fast she goes, she'll never escape one specific memory.
I was beside myself. Teresa was one of my best friends.
Deborah's best friend, Teresa, was murdered. But it was no ordinary crime.
This was a unique case in my career.
It's a tale of money and betrayal, with an end so horrific, some still refuse to believe it today.
It's a story that I tell often, and it usually blows people away.
It all began in 2002 in the wealthy Phoenix suburb of Fountain Hills. A 911 call leads police to a baffling murder scene. Teresa Cole and her husband Clark are dead.
Well, it seemed to be that the couple were having a relatively normal dinner. There was no signs of forced entry. There was no signs of struggle. There was no physical injuries. So it was all quite peculiar.
Who did it? And how?
We weren't able to determine a cause of death. We had to wait for the results of an autopsy.
While investigators wait, Detective Caraway starts asking questions.
We had learned that the Coles had been married for 7 years, and they had started off quite modestly.
They had to struggle to make ends meet.
Clark was a struggling accountant. Teresa, a hard-working dental hygienist. But all that was about to change.
One of the dentists said, well, you know, if you're looking to make some extra money, you know, I have some business ventures you could perhaps invest in.
Teresa rolls the dice. It pays off big time. And she puts the profits into more and more successful investments.
After a while, they didn't even have to worry about how they spent money anymore.
Merry Christmas.
They'd managed to accumulate a significant amount of wealth, largely based on investments that Mrs. Cole had made.
But the money had a surprise effect.
Well, he was a bit of a show-off. He did like to flaunt it around.
Only money.
No, I think definitely he was trying to be eccentric. He just got worse and worse as the money was coming in.
And Clark's eccentricities are not the only thing Deborah reveals.
Clark started having affairs, and they were not secretive, they were public.
It's the final straw for Teresa. She files for divorce. Clark stands to lose everything.
He felt that he was at particular risk in the divorce because he had had these very public affairs which he felt could be used against him.
Clark hires the best legal team money can buy. Before long, Teresa is the one who's afraid.
She was very concerned that the strength of Mr. Cole's legal team and the resources he was putting into their divorce, that she would lose a lot of what she felt she was entitled to.
Then, days before their court date, Clark calls with a surprise offer. He suggests they meet for dinner and try to work things out.
She talked to me about it, and she thought, you know, it's a good idea to try to work it out. It was the last time I spoke with Teresa.
Dinner goes disastrously wrong. For police, it's all still a baffling mystery, but it's about to be blown wide open.
When we got the autopsy report back, we found that both Mr. and Mrs. Cole had been poisoned.
Did someone poison this couple, or is there another explanation?
In testing the evidence that was collected at the scene, we learned that the mashed potatoes had been poisoned.
Incredibly, it appears Teresa is to blame.
We speculate that she had planned to murder her husband and then dispose of the body and get away with all the money.
Unwilling to lose a cent to Clark's high-priced lawyers, Teresa puts her desperate plan into action. But how did she end up eating her own poisoned food? It turns out she didn't.
Cheers.
The coroner's report concluded that there were 2 different poisons used.
Equally worried about losing it all, Clark had come up with the same desperate plan.
Mr. Cole had poisoned the red wine. One could imagine that Mrs. Cole, having thought she'd got away with her plan, went to toast her success, not knowing that the wine had in fact been poisoned.
Seconds later, her dreams also come crashing down.
I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before.
Instead of either one getting it all, both end up with nothing and leave Deborah with a wound that will never heal.
I couldn't get out of bed some days. It's very hard to not have your best friend anymore.
A happy couple learns in the most tragic way that money really can't buy you love. But did it happen? It's time to reveal the truth about our 3 incredible stories. First up, it's the tale of the transplanted heart that takes control of a well-respected family man. But is it fact or fiction?
My name is Professor Gary Schwartz, and this is a true story.
Sadly, this story is true. Transplanted organs have been known to change tastes and behaviors, but this is the only case of a new organ actually leading someone to their death. Next, it's the tale of the Russian circus performer who met his tragic end in the mouth of a hippo. But is it fact or fiction?
My name is Sergey. I am from Lithuania. I am not trapeze artist. This is fake story.
Russia is a popular place to set urban legends, and it's true that a lot of strange things happen there, but not this tale. It's false. Which leaves a story of the messy divorce that ends with the ultimate food fight. Did this one taste right to you?
It's awful to lose a best friend, but I didn't, because this story is fake.
This couple is no Romeo and Juliet, but the myth of lovers poisoning each other at the exact same moment was as popular in Shakespeare's time as it is today. But it isn't true. That's the end of our episode called Love and War. Were you able to separate the heartfelt truth from the vicious lies? Don't worry if you couldn't. You'll get another chance to separate fact from fiction in the next installment of Urban Legends.